Welcome back, beautiful soul, to Softening into Momentum. I'm Miki, and this is Season 3, The Gentle Path. Last week, we talked about right view, about how suffering exists, how it has causes, how it can soften, and how none of that clear seeing is actually possible when we're dysregulated, when our nervous system is running on threat detection and old stories. I hope you sat with the question I left you with. When you're dysregulated, what story feels absolutely, unquestionably true? Because there's wisdom in that. In noticing the difference between perception filtered through fear and perception that has a little more room in it. This week, we go one step deeper, because once we begin to see clearly, the next question becomes, what do we actually want? Not what do we think we should want, not what looks good or sounds right or would make someone proud of us. What does the heart actually want? That's right intention, and it's much quieter than we expect. In the Pali tradition, right intention, sometimes translated as right thought or right resolve, has 3 traditional dimensions. 1. The intention of renunciation, which is letting go of what doesn't serve the deepest good. 2. The intention of goodwill, which is moving from harm towards care, towards ourselves and others. And 3. The intention of harmlessness, choosing non-violence in how we engage with ourselves, with our lives, with the world. Now, notice what's not on that list. Productivity, optimization, results, strategy. Right intention in the Buddhist context is not about getting somewhere. It's about the orientation of our heart, quality of the motivation beneath the action. And this is where it gets genuinely countercultural. Because we live in a world that is obsessed with strategy, with goals and systems and 90-day sprints and 5-year plans. And there's nothing wrong with any of that, used wisely. But if the strategy is coming from a heart that hasn't been consulted, from a nervous system that is planning from fear or performing for approval, then even the most elegant strategy will eventually hollow out. The question that lives at the center of right intention is this: what would shift if I stopped trying to improve this week? What would remain? What would you actually move toward if you weren't trying to fix yourself? That is where intention lives. The word renunciation tends to land heavy. It sounds like deprivation, like giving things up, like the opposite of abundance. But in the Buddhist understanding, renunciation is closer to relief. It's releasing the things that are exhausting you, the constant grasping for more, better, different, the story that you'll finally be okay once you lose the weight or get the promotion or finish the project. Renunciation says, what if okay was here already? What if less force was actually more aligned? In recovery work, this shows up in a particular way. Early sobriety often involves a kind of frantic energy, the sense that now that I've stopped drinking, I need to fix everything else quickly, rebuild what was lost, prove that I can do this, become the person I always was meant to be, immediately. And the wisdom of right intention says, slow down. Let the heart speak. Less force. More kindness. No self-violence. The aligned action will come from there. It almost always does. But it requires a kind of radical patience, a willingness to be still before being strategic. There's a moment in recovery. If you've been there, you know it, when the intention shifts. In active addiction, the primary intention, even if it's unconscious, is escape, relief, not feeling what you're feeling. But at some point, something changes. The intention begins to orient differently, toward healing, toward presence, toward choosing something other than the numbing. That shift in intention is profound. Even before any behavior changes, something has already moved. Right intention recognizes that the quality of our motivation shapes the quality of our nervous system response. When we act from fear, from I must fix this or something bad will happen, the body stays braced, hypervigilant, scanning. When we act from goodwill, from I want this because I care about myself, the body has a different quality of engagement, still active, still purposeful, but not braced. The still point practice that I'll teach you today is a way of accessing that orientation, of asking the heart, not the anxious, planning, performing mind, but the actual heart, what it wants. So take this moment to find a comfortable position, either seated or lying down. Place one hand on your heart. Feel your own warmth. Take a slow breath in, directing it toward your palm. As you exhale, soften rather than release. There's a difference. Releasing implies effort, something being ejected. Softening is more like opening, allowing. Three breaths like this. Inhale toward the palm. Exhale, softening. Inhale, filling in your heart space. And softening and lengthening with an exhale. One more, inhaling, filling up all the spaces. And exhale. Now ask, not the planning mind, but the quieter thing beneath it. What would kindness choose right now? Not perfection, not optimization. Kindness. Let the first thing that arises be enough. You don't need to be anywhere else for the next 10 minutes. You're not behind. You're not missing anything. You are here, and here is exactly right. Take another breath. Feel your chest rise under your hand. And now I want you to ask gently, the way you'd ask a tired child, what do you actually want? Not what you think you should want, not what would look good, not what you've been chasing or planning or worrying about. What does the heart want? Don't force an answer. Don't reach for it. Just wait. The heart speaks in its own time. Sometimes it speaks in images, sometimes in a feeling, sometimes in a very quiet word that surprises you. Stay here, breathing toward your palm, waiting. Whatever came, even if it was nothing, even if the mind was busy and loud and the heart couldn't get a word in, that's okay. The asking itself is the practice. Now, I want you to think of one small thing. Not a transformation, not a complete reinvention. One small action that feels aligned with what you most deeply value. It might be going to bed a little earlier, texting someone you've been meaning to reach, saying something true. Maybe just sitting quietly for 5 minutes before you open your phone in the morning. See yourself doing this thing. Feel what it feels like in your body. not as a future aspiration, but as if it's already done. As if you're already the version of yourself who does this. Notice how that feels. Is there relief? A sense of rightness? Quiet satisfaction that doesn't require any applause? That's the feeling of align intention. Hold it. As we close, I'll offer you these words. Say them to yourself as gently as you can. May my next step be gentle and true. May I move from kindness, not fear. May I trust the heart's quiet knowing. Take a slow breath in and let it go completely. When you're ready, gently open your eyes, becoming aware of the space around you. Carry this intention with you, not as a goal, but as a compass. Welcome back, beautiful soul. The Still Point guided meditation, the extended version with additional reflection prompts, is available inside the Studio Stillness Library in the Metta Momentum Sangha on School Premium. Come practice with us every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Central, 8:30 p.m. Eastern for our live Metta Moment sessions. 30 minutes of reconnection, grounding, and stillness. The link is in the show notes. We'll be there. Next week, we move to right speech, and we'll look at what happens when we turn the 4 gates of speech inward. When the most important conversation we change is the one we're having with ourselves. Until then, be gentle with what you want. The heart knows. It's been knowing all along. The Softening into Momentum podcast is lovingly curated, created, written, edited, and produced by me, Miki Byrne, with accompanying sound bath frequencies by my good friend, Static. If you would like to dive further into his incredible musical work, please go to YouTube at Static is Noise. My new book, Permission to Be, a memoir about sobriety, self-trust, and learning to come home to yourself, is out now in print, ebook format, as well as the intimate audiobook version available exclusively in the school community. Link in the show notes. Thank you so much for softening into this moment with me. Until we meet again, Namaste.